Hey guys, how are you today? How are you? How are you? So guys, I want to come on today. I am driving. I'm on my way to a speaking engagement. I'll be speaking at an event that Uncover the Beauty. A beautiful young lady named, I call her J Cole. A beautiful spirit, beautiful woman. And this is her organization where she's going to be speaking on rape culture. And it's very important because at this time, it's so much going on pertaining to sexual harassment cases, rape cases. I'm sorry, y'all, my phone is jumping because I'm driving. But so many things are going on. A lot of things are being exposed because of social media. As we know, the whole talk of the R. Kelly documentary has calmed down. R. Kelly's surviving R. Kelly has quieted down because of, you know, the things that was going on with the government. Thank God. I'm so happy that our president, Donald Trump, has agreed upon letting the government come back into business for three weeks. I hope they come to agreement. They did not come to agreement pertaining to the wall, but they did something. So whatever it was, thank you, Jesus. Another reason is because the Super Bowl is coming, and that would have been just hectic not having proper people protecting Atlanta at this time, because it is going to be crazy. I live in Atlanta. People are already coming down. It's supposed to be approximately a million people here. It's already a lot of people here, so it's going to be hectic. But with that being said, I'm on the way to this speaking engagement. I'm really excited about it because at the end of the day, I have been a victim of attempted rape and rape. I've been a victim of molestation as well as a child. I was raped by a cousin, two of my cousins, a female and a male cousin, and an uncle. So I want you guys to understand that a lot of us deal with these things, but we don't talk about these things. And at this time, being ashamed of it is not going to help anybody. It's not going to save anybody's life. It's not going to help anybody heal. It's not going to do any of that. And if any of you guys have been in those situations, I strongly suggest you get counseling, which I'm going to counseling this year pertaining to it. I have done everything I do spiritually, you know, prayed about it, you know, I'm healed so far where I'm not angry. I forgave them and things like that. But I know I need to work through the trauma. That is trauma. That's something that, you know, prayer works, guys. But that's why counselors, therapists, all of those people have been put here to help you learn how to cope and continue on with your ongoing healing from that situation. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm scared of men. I'm not scared of men. I'm not scared of women. I've been in a marriage. I've been in relationships, but they have not been the most healthy relationships. I have a lot of great girlfriends, things like that. But I struggle with homosexuality for some time because I was like, okay, I had a young lady that I went elementary school with, and I didn't mean to share all this, but I'm going to share it. But I had a young lady that I was friends with in elementary school. We were in, I think, 4th grade, 4th or 5th grade. I think we were going on 5th grade. Yeah, we was in 5th grade at that time. And me and her became really good friends. You know, she stayed around the corner from me. I'm sorry y'all can't see me, but we stayed around the corner from me, and me and her just came. So, you know, we started hanging out, things like that. I asked my mom if I great. So I went over, I spent the night with her. In the middle of the night, like, we were talking, whatever, just chit-chatting like little girls do. And she's like, oh, I want to show you something, basically. You know, oh, let's do something. I was like, do what? You know, at this time, like I said, I have already had been molested before. So I was very much aware of what was going on at the time. But I was just like, she's my friend. Why would she do this? You know, type thing. So I was like, no, I don't want to do this. But she forced on. So let's be honest, I was raped by a friend at that time. And it was crazy because I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So whatever, it continued to go on. And anybody who have been a traumatic experience, you don't want to lose a friendship, or typically it's about want to like cut it dry. So I was like, oh, she act like it didn't happen, things like that. So every time I went over there, she basically took advantage of me, you know, type things. sadly to say, over time, I started enjoying it. So I started enjoying it, whatever. So and this went on all the way up into high school. I'm gonna be completely honest. It went all the way up to 9th grade. Okay, I met her in 5th grade. This went all the way up into 9th grade. All right. You would think, oh, you know better, things like that. But when somebody take advantage of you and it's happening over a period of time, you kind of try to make a logic in your mind, like, oh, well, I like it though. And, it's okay. It's not that bad. Like, it feel good, type thing. Still, knowing it's wrong, but don't know how to stop the behavior. Number one, I was young. I was a child. I didn't want to tell on her because I didn't want her to get in trouble to me. I want my friend to get in trouble and things like that. So we just act regular, quote unquote. But what brought the camel back for me is when I got to 9th grade, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. And she just kind of really tried to rough me up, and I was like, absolutely not. So yes, you are. I said, no, I ain't, type thing. And this is not against any of my followers who are homosexuals, but I'm sharing my story, okay? So I was like, I ain't gay. Like, I don't like girls. Like, this is not the case. I like boys. Like, I want a boyfriend. I want a husband. And she was like, yes, you are. And we end up, I kind of got out of her house finally because she was trying to literally block me into her home, guys. I'm being transparent. She did not want to let me out. So I had to kind of fight my way out of this young lady's house. End up getting to her house and kind of running out of her yard. And she's yelling like, you are? And I said, no, I'm not. And I literally never talked to her again. It's crazy because later on down some years, after high school, going to college, she ended up connecting with me on Facebook. And I wasn't even mad at her anymore because at the end of the day, I know how much she had been through in her life. She had been through a lot. Her mom had been through a lot and things of that nature. And it's so crazy because later on, about a year or two ago, I ran into her. I was doing Uber at the time, and I ran into her at the bus station. And I walked to her and I said, hey girl. And she looked at me like a deer in headlights, and I spoke to her. And I was like, how are you? How's your kids? Things like that. But she looked at me like, I can't believe she's talking to me. I can't believe she even has the audacity to talk to me after everything, pretty much that happened over the years. But like I said, I was at a point where I prayed about it. I let it go. I forgave her. I accepted the fact that and over time learning how rape and molestation starts, it's a trickle down effect, and things like that. She was young. She didn't know any better, as much as we were at an age where we should have just stopped, but we didn't understand how to just stop. We didn't understand how to keep ourselves out of the situation. We didn't understand that, we shouldn't be friends anymore because it went too far, things like that. But at the end of the day, I was fine with that. I was like, I forgive her. I'm not holding against her, things like that. But as the years went on, even when in high school, in college, I struggled with the thought of women. I am being transparent. Okay, I'm being real transparent. So I had to struggle with that because I was like, at the end of the day, I had been taken advantage of from a young child by women. So, and even by a man, but more 2 times by a woman. So it was hard for me to kind of shake the feeling of looking at women. Even I had friends who were homosexuals who I were really close with. They never came on to me, but at the end of the day, I was just around the energy. I was around the acceptance of it. So I struggled with it for so long, guys. I struggled with it for so long. But I had to be honest with myself and say, what introduced you to that? Did you just, like many homosexuals wake up and say, I felt like I was born like this, since I can remember, that's what I like. And now I'm going to say this. Every homosexual has not been raped. Every homosexual has not been molested. That's not the case. That is, again, chose not to go that route, okay? Because I could have easily decided, I will give me a girl, she gonna take care of me and all this stuff like that. But I just knew in my heart that wasn't the right thing, and I fought it, and it was hard to fight. Even today, I was like, nope, we're not playing that game. I'm not into that. And it's something, and if anybody know what I'm talking about, it's not an easy thing to guys cut off and just let go. And if you know anybody who's homosexual, when you ask them, they're like, I don't know, I don't understand it. And I completely understand with them. You can't explain why you like what you like. You can't explain why you want to look at a woman. You can't explain why you want to look at a man at all. But my whole thing is, for me, it took me time to just accept didn't ask for this. I didn't feel like this when I was growing up. I liked boys, whatever. But I said, I realized I was introduced to that lifestyle because the cousin who did that to me is now a homosexual. Okay. So with that being said, guys, it's just like I was introduced this through somebody else. That's not something I naturally wanted to do. That's not something that I wanted, you know, but it's something I had to struggle with because it was introduced to me. Okay, but over the years, I've been able to fight that urge or anything like that and not kind of like indulge in it. Not saying that I don't still have friends who are homosexual, because I do. I have and who are clients of mine who are about to get married. I love you. It's not about what you like. It's not about your sexual origin. It's about the person you are and knowing that you're still a child of God in spite of. So that is not something I want to say like, no. I completely understand the struggles in it, especially if individuals who just don't understand, well, I'm a believer. Why do I have these urges? Like, it ain't something easy to explain. It's not something that you don't even know if you'll ever get answers to, but that's something you'll have to learn how to deal with. Also getting assistance, especially if you don't want to be in that lifestyle, getting any type of assistance to go through that, you know, and learning how to fight the urges and like not engaging in those urges and things of that nature. So just being transparent with you guys, I wanted to share that with y'all. And I guess that's why I call this video Change, because at the end of the day, I've been through a lot in my life, and I just want other people to understand that you're not the only one. As much as y'all come to me pertaining to herpes, I'm more deeper than herpes, y'all. I have so much more to offer to you guys, more than herpes. Yes, that's what we relate to. Yes, that's what we understand. But at the end of the day, I've been through a whole lot in my life, and I've been able to overcome all of these things and still overcoming these things every day, and just understand that you can do it. It requires work. It requires therapy. It requires prayer. It requires fasting. It requires, you know, reading the Bible, or it requires, you know, you constantly changing your mindset and surrounding yourself around people who are going to support you and love you and get you through the situation. So I just really, and also having people that you can talk to and be transparent with, where you don't feel like you're being judged. But at the end of the day, guys, it's very, very possible to move on in life despite traumatic experiences happen to you. I don't know what any of you guys been through. I know a lot of you guys have been through 10 times worse than herpes already, or herpes is your worst for you. But I just want you to know that it doesn't have to be the end. It just requires for you to do the necessary things to get the help and support that you need. If you're at a place in your life right now that your mental state is out of whack, like literally you're having struggles trying to think and how to feel, and you just feel like your emotions are all over the place, you need to go get help. Okay, go get help. There's nothing wrong with talking to me. It's nothing wrong with talking to your mama and your girlfriends. But if that is not getting you to a better stance where you're able to learn how to cope alone, then you're really learning that you need more help. I tell y'all, if you work a regular job, look into EAP. It's called EAP. That is basically, it offer you mental health services at your job. All jobs, typically even McDonald's, they all offer them. Walmart, all of them offer that service, and you will be able to talk to a counselor pertaining to any depression, any stress, any anxiety, panic attacks. All of that is mental disorders, guys. Stress is a mental disorder. It's not what we think. And I didn't fully learn that until I went into going to get my counseling degree, which I'm not going to get anymore. But when I was going into it, you know, I was reading my book, my textbook, and they say stress is a mental disorder. Guys, look how many people got mental disorders. Everybody's stressed once upon a time in their lives. You know, some people, it become extreme stress, and then it turns into anxiety, and then turns into panic, and then it turns to depression, then turns to chronic depression, where also it can open up the door where people become schizophrenia, and you're dealing with bipolarness. But I don't think everybody ain't born with those. Like, it's a traumatic experience, and it like literally take you to another level, and you start dealing with those things. My pastor works with individuals with mental disorders, and he was telling us, the congregation, basically one guy, he had bipolarness and schizophrenia together, and basically they counteract each other. And every month he has to take a pill, take a medicine to keep him basically at a level to think and do for himself. Okay, when he's not on this medicine, then he's just all over, he's out of character. So my pastor asked him at the time, like, what's going on? He's like, man, you know, I haven't had a chance to get it because I think he probably couldn't afford it or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But at that time, my pastor asked him, like, you know, were you born this way? He was like, nah, man, for 21 years, I had a regular life. The young man was like, I think 24, 25, something like that. But he said what happened was I got into a relationship with a young lady and she took advantage of me. She broke my heart and he went bonkers. Listen to me, y'all. It's very important that you be careful who you get into relationships with. A lot of us, this herpes thing has caused us to spiral. Like, it spiraled us out because you was in a real bad relationship pertaining to domestic violence. Domestic violence is just not physical, guys. Domestic violence is mental, emotional abuse. I have been mentally and verbally abused before, spiritually abused too. You know, my ex-husband, but he was doing those things to me and I was doing it to him too. I'm gonna be transparent. I was doing it to him too because we didn't know any better. We didn't think that was abuse because we wasn't punching each other or hitting each other, because he never physically put his hands on me. You know, we may probably shoved each other, but never to a point of beating each other to a crisp. We had never did that, but we still was abusing each other in so many ways. And a lot of us think like, I ain't no abuser. Yeah, you are. If you're literally manipulating situations and making a person feel down and making them feel less than, that is abuse. And a lot of us think domestic abuse is the girl is getting beat up in the corner. Girls ain't the only ones getting beat up. Men are getting in the frame too. So don't let them fool you. Don't let these men fool you thinking they ain't been in domestic relationships, because they have. You know, as many men say, I will never hit a woman, but he will say some rocking back and forth thinking she. Being said, guys, I want us to understand that, you know, it's a lot that a lot of people deal with pertaining to domestic abuse. And I even want to talk about that more into detail, that domestic abuse is more than bruises. It's not physical bruises, it's deeper. And as women and men, we need to know the signs of domestic abuse in any short, so you can nip it in the bud. Because sometimes a person is just not aware that they're doing that to you. They're not aware that they're inflicting pain on you. They're not aware that you don't hear what they think they're saying. Okay? Because my ex-husband truly didn't believe that he was doing. Initially apologized to him, and we are in so much better. We can talk on the phone and truly just be supportive to our son. But at the end of the day, him and say, you know what I heard at that time is not what I heard. You know, and even I apologize to him recently because I just blew a gasket on him. But at the end of the day, I apologize, and I told him, you know, all the things I said, I counsel it. I would never want you to think those things about yourself, or I don't want you to think that you're less than and you're not a good father and all of these things. I would never want you to think that, because that stuff is not true. No, you're not in the stands where you can do everything you want, but you do everything that you can. And I want to respect you and love you for what you can do. You're not a deadbeat. You're not living and not doing for your son. He talked to him dang near every day. Or we try to make sure we talk to, you know, he talked to him every day. And that's on both ends. He called him, I call him, to make sure he talked to his son. And they do video chat and stuff like that because he's in another state. So I just really want y'all to understand, like, we got to be careful how we treat each other and do each other. Because a lot of us are inflicting stuff on other people and thinking, oh, they doing us wrong. But they really just responded to your behavior. You yelling, cussing, screaming, and hollering can cause a man to want to bust you in your mouth because you're calling him all types of names. And after a while, you have to realize you put a person into the corner, they're coming out fighting. Nobody's going to deal with abuse for too long and don't feel like they got to physically do something to handle it. Okay? So we as women and men have to be careful with our tone. We got to be careful with the things we say to each other. We just have to be careful. We can't expect this. He just cut me clean off. I tell you, trucks are something else, but he cut me clean off, y'all. But at the end of the day, guys, we just got to completely understand that abuse can be done by men or women. It doesn't have to be just men. It doesn't have to be just women. And it's just very important that we take the time to learn what abuse is mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and how that can literally and financially, because some people, their husband or their wives are making the most money and they pimping them. They won't let them do nothing. They won't let them go nowhere. They won't give them no money. They looking all types of crazy, or they controlling what they got on. They controlling what they do. My God, y'all, it's real out here. It's some people who are going through stuff where you're thinking like, oh my God, her man taking care of her, but you just don't know that her man said you better wear this, you better wear that, or you can't wear this, and you can't wear that. Like, you just don't know. So I really want us to stop, you know, glorifying other people's lives and thinking that their lives are perfect. Even mine. My life is not perfect, guys. I live with my mother. Okay, I am almost 30 and I live with my mom. Most people, y'all are thinking like, well, you know, you just got a divorce. I've been divorced for a year. Okay, that's not an excuse. If I need to do what I need to get out on my own, I get on my own. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's been a blessing that I've been with my mom, because I've been able to build my relationship back with my mother, because I was disobedient. My mom told me not to marry my ex-husband, and I did it anyway. And I wish I would have listened to her, but I didn't, because I thought I knew better. But my mom seen the signs of everything, and I didn't see it because I, like, quote unquote loved him. And as I look now, that wasn't love. You know, I liked him a lot, you know, but I didn't love him, because if I did, I wouldn't have treated him the way I did. He wouldn't treat me the way I did. I mean, we probably have love for each other now, but I don't truly believe we were ever in love with each other, because when you're in love with somebody, you would never inflict that type of pain on people. And we got to understand that if you don't know what proper or positive or correct love is, or the correct way to love a person, you're going to love them the way you know. And he had been through some things in his past, and I have witnessed a lot of stuff in my own home pertaining to men and relationships and marriage, and honestly on both ends it wasn't healthy. So how did we think we were ever going to have a healthy marriage without, number one, acknowledging the things that we were doing and physically trying to change them together and individually, and then going to get the extra help? We wasn't doing enough counseling. Like, we should have went to counseling. We did not. You know, he fought me on it, I fought him on it. We both was like, yo, and then next minute was like, no, I don't want counseling. You know, because we didn't want to deal with reality. But if we went, we would have seen the reality that wasn't because of us fully. We were just living out what we see. We lived out what we seen. If we knew what we know now, then come on, let's be honest, we wouldn't have did half of what we did. All right, so I just wanted to come on here and share that. I was not even trying to share all my business, but y'all know me, I have no problem with being transparent, because it's setting me free. Because a lot of these things pertaining to the molestation and the rape and all this stuff, I never talked about. I never really talked about I don't even think fully all my friends knew about all that stuff that happened to me. So I truly just wanted to share that stuff with y'all and help y'all realize, like, you're not the only one. Like, you're not the only one struggling. You're not the only one going through things. But I tell you one thing, you don't have to be the only one staying broken. You can get to a point where you get healed, just like you see other people getting healed as well. Just like, wow, Belize, thank you so much for being transparent. I myself was molested by a female at a young age. I struggled myself with my sexuality for the remainder of my childhood. Yep, girl. And yes, I agree. I'm going to therapy, and that helps so much. I was able to forgive myself, as I thought I was the reason I was molested. My counselor helped me to understand that it wasn't my fault. I'm proud of you. My whole thing is, I want us as minorities, and I'm not talking just African American. I'm talking about look, I'm African American. I'm talking about Africans. I'm talking about Latinos. I'm talking about Mexicans. I'm talking about Chinese. All of us everybody who's not Caucasians. I want us to realize that counseling is not a bad thing. If you're Caucasian, typically you're used to hearing that. Don't worry about me. I got this. I can drive, baby. I can drive. Don't worry about it. You worry about the wrong thing. I can drive. I see more than you can see. Don't worry about that. But at the end of the day, you just have to understand that we are not used to going to counseling. We're not used to hearing that it's okay to go to counseling. You know, many families and many cultures are taught that going to the counselor is the worst thing you can do, because you're telling people your business, and you shouldn't tell people our business. We keep our business in the family and things like that. So it's very important, guys, that we know that counselors are put here to help us and support us and get us through what we can't see. Okay, get us through what we can't see. I understand that, sweetie. If you have a problem, you can leave. Thank you. Like, you can leave. Like, you're doing a lot of talking, but you're saying, tell me to keep my eyes on the road, but you're talking to me. How ignorant is that? So with that being said, guys, like, I'm going to tell y'all something. I don't have no problem with addressing nobody. My whole thing, let me do what I'm doing. And if you're just coming on here, you'll realize I have not been looking at the camera the whole time. So with that being said, you can exit left and stop talking to me. So you're distracting me. So you'll be the reason why I end up getting an accident, because you want to talk about what you do for your life. Like, I don't care. I don't care. That's not my concern. Continue to drive your trucks. So with that being said, guys, I just want you guys to continue on with your life and love yourself, and you're gonna be fine. So with that being said, guys, I am almost at my destination for my speaking engagement, and I love you guys, and continue living and get out here and live your best life.